some people that they told me, oh no, I have like 10 uncles and a lot of cousins, and I just have five from my father, my father, and four from my mom. No, no, but they tell me like one side of their parents have like 10 brothers, and the
Really?
other side like five. And yes, I see that the families of decades ago was pretty big in
Uh-huh.
comparison, like in the current times.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, that's been the trend in the recent years. Families in our grandparents' generation, in your great grandparents' generation, and in my case, in my grandparents' generation, used to be much larger. They used to have
Mm-hmm,
what, 5 to 10 kids, if no more.
mm-hmm.
And nowadays, families, well, look at your parents. They have 3 kids. I had 2 daughters. My my mom and my dad had 5 boys. I don't
Oh,
know your for example, in Miguel's case is your dad, Memo, Tonio, Angelica, I think it's Bobby. I think it's 5 kids in the case of your dad.
yes.
5. And in the case of your mom, I have no idea. But I think
Uh,
it's not one or two. I think it's quite a few, right? Two.
they
If I'm not
are
right,
like one, two, three, four.
4 people.
Uh,
That well, there you
ha-
go. And
yes.
most people in
I
my
have.
most people in my generation, for example, my brothers, my big brother has 3 daughters. I have 2 daughters. Ralph, my brother, has 2 boys.
Mm-hmm.
Raul, my fourth brother, he has no kids, and the youngest one has 2 kids. So everyone has 2 kids except for the big one, who has 3 girls, and he's the one who has the most people in the family. So this
Mm-hmm.
generation, we are having much less kids than we used to have when we were not that we used to have, that our grandparents used to have. So generations have changed a lot, Mitch.
Yes, very much.
And now the question is that for the better or for the worse? What do you think?
Mm, I think in the current times, maybe it's for the better because we have to consider the resources of the planet, and also I realize that the government, uh, I heard like a conspiration that they
Conspiracy.
the conspiracy
Yes, yes.
uh, that the abortion was illegal, not so much because they consider it as a murder, more than
Yes.
because they have more people to contract more. How can I say this? Cheap hand labor.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's like a comparison, but maybe the could it, it could have a part of truth. But now that we are so many, and the that law it's available for all the states with some filters, of course. Uh, I don't know.
Wow.
Maybe they are trying to control the natality. No idea. It's pretty funny. Well,
Well,
of
I'm gonna
course,
confess something.
not funny, not funny, not funny. It's like something too many things to analyze.
Yeah, that is true. But I'm gonna confess something. I'm gonna confess something to you and Mickey when he sees the video. I believe quite a lot in conspiracy theories. Some of the conspiracy theories, like for example, have you heard of the Twin Towers or
The
not?
the Twin Towers. Mhm.
Yeah, that they were destroyed supposedly by the Arabs.
Uh-huh.
Well, there is a conspiracy theory that it was the government, that it was an inside job and they did it themselves in order to have an excuse to attack the Arab countries, among them Iraq and Iran, and be able to get their oil and that's what exactly they did.
You
So
know,
there's yes,
I heard something like that too. That they were the same government, the U.S. government, and they need something, someone to give the fault, echarle
to
la culpa,
blame, to blame,
to
someone to
blame, to
blame.
blame, to blame.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
and there was some reasons to they do that, but I don't remember. But it's pretty interesting, and it's like answers that we are never going to really know. Uh, but it's like curious to think about it.
It is. It is actually yes. So there are many issues like that which they call conspiracy theories, and they give this qualifier to make it something like there is a bad intention, right? When you speculate about the government, it's because our intentions are bad, right? We don't like the government, but in reality, it is the Americans themselves who make these conspiracy theories. It is the Americans. It's the, for example, the architecture and engineers, A&E companies. They say, how could it be in the Twin Towers, two towers collapsed? Apparently
Hmm.
because of the attack of an aircraft, right? Apparently. But there
Yes.
was a third tower 3 blocks away that also collapsed. This tower collapsed, and he was subject to no action of no one or nothing. So this third tower collapsed too.
Hmm.
Another tower collapsed. But in this case, there was no aircraft or no airplane or nothing. And nobody talks about them except the conspiracy theorists, right? The people who talk about the conspiracy are the ones who talk about it. So the not the Warren Commission, the commission in charge of explaining what happened here, they say it was the Arabs, five evil Arabs violated New York, the most cared place in the world, where you have all kinds of devices, equipment, sophisticated airplanes. So how can five people that never knew how to fly, how can they deceive and defeat the most powerful army in the world ever? That's simply impossible, right?
Hmm.
So so that's why that gives a lot of strength to this conspiracy theory. Well, these conspiracy theories are. Let me take a phone call from my mom really quick. Please, really quick. It's
Yeah,
going to
don't
take one
worry,
or two
don't worry.
minutes. Please.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mitch. I'm back.
Yeah, teacher, don't worry.
Yeah. So we were saying that these conspiracy theories have some validity. In reality, some of them are truly valid.
Yeah.
And for example, have you heard of the President of the United States, John F. Kennedy?
Yes.
What do you know about his story?
Eh, sorry if I if it is incorrect. Um, that he was like someone to be elect to be the president, the most likely person in that age to be elected as president, and a lot of people like him. He
Yes.
was pretty good, and he helps a lot, and was something very someone very revolutionary. But he was more murdered. One like a kind of, I don't know how to name these pasarelas, desfiles,
Parades.
parades. He was shot by someone in, I don't know, by someone.
He was shot by
Uh-huh.
someone. Apparently, and that's another conspiracy theory, shot by
Uh-huh.
Oswald, and they say a lonely killer, which of course nobody believes. Nobody
As
believes
well
there
with
was.
someone.
Oswald is the person who apparently shot apparently, but only by Oswald, James Oswald, I think. I don't remember his name, but Oswald was his family name.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that it was a lonely killer, that it was a personal decision and not a conspiracy, not a class action. Class action is some action that is made by a group of people, not by one individual, by two or three or more.
Yes.
Well, one conspiracy theory says that it was Lyndon Johnson, the following president. What do you think of
Mm,
this?
eh, well, the same thing that you said. If that's someone too important, like the president, I suppose like they have a lot of security, and truly no one saw something weird in a in some place. Well, also that what if he was a sniper, truly professional sniper, uh, I could a little understand, but I think we should never consider something like the absolute truth. I think we have always to be open mind to how can I say enfrentar,
Face?
to face the all the possibilities or the true reality.
I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. And we have to be open minded because, as you say, everything can be the reality.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah. The theory of a lonely sniper is almost undefendable. It cannot be defended. In other words, the head, well, you are very good to drawing heads. Let me just make a head like this. The original position of the head, and I don't know if I can do this, but I'll try. Well, let's
Mhm.
say that this is the head. Of course, you will forgive my bad drawing, but okay, this is the head, right? These are the eyes. These are the eyes. Oops, I don't know what I did. Okay, well now, well,
Teacher,
these are the eyes. Yes,
could you excuse me a minute?
of course, take your time. Take
Yeah,
your time.
sorry. Oh, teacher, I think
Yes.
Mickey is in the background.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he's there. I see him. Hey, Mickey. Hello.
Hi, teacher.
How are
How are
you?
you?
Fine,
Oh,
thanks. Sorry I
oh,
didn't see
good,
you.
teacher. Yeah, sorry for the
Excellent.
delay. Well, at the end of my exams, I had some work to do, and then, well, there was a lot of traffic coming back from the school to my house, and I'm a
Oh,
little bit late. Sorry, teacher.
yeah. How did you do in the exam?
A good teacher. Actually, it's a good week. It was a good exam week, and actually was my last second partial.
Your last second passion. Hey, Mickey, listen, you're gonna have a big celebration in a few months, huh?
Yeah, well, actually, in 1 month and a half, more or less, I'll be finishing the school.
Wow, that's impressive. How do you feel?
I feel good. I don't know. I start to think so many things, and I'm a little bit. Uh, well, I'm wondering about different things, and I'm a little bit nervous, but all good, sure.
Yeah, well, it's a new stage. It's a new stage, and you have gone through this a number of times when you went from primary school, from elementary school to secondary school. I am sure that you had a certain kind of feelings or a feeling. Uh, didn't you feel that? Or how do you feel when you went from primary to secondary school, Mickey?
Yeah, I think that it's the same feeling, but in a bigger way.
It
Because
is.
when you try something new, when you're gonna do something that you never uh, have tried, I think that is completely normal. But well, let's see how it works.
Yeah, no, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. I mean, your dad has gone through that. Your mom has gone through that. I have gone through that. Many people have gone through that, and yeah, it's a new experience, a new feeling. At times, you're gonna feel a little bit nostalgic, but that's normal, right?
Yeah,
It's like when
actually,
you
something
parted.
that
Yeah,
yeah,
like
it's
when you
something that
parted with your old
uh
car, right? You sold your car. You were attached to your car, and you had to part with it. So
yeah, it was. It's gonna be the same feeling. But yeah, actually, I'm feeling now because it's like, oh my god, in less than 2 months, I'm gonna end my college, and I'm a little bit nervous because, well, I've been searching about jobs and about what can I do next, and I don't know, is where I think that really starts this process.
yeah, exactly. I think you mentioned a while ago, a couple of weeks ago, that maybe a possibility was for you to continue with a master's degree.
Yeah, yeah, but the master's degree is only on Saturday, so I'm gonna have the rest of the week free, and I want to use my time to, I don't know, I'm still thinking about if I want to work in a company, or if I want to impulse my businesses or the businesses that I want to create. I'm in that process of, how can I say, discerning. It is correct.
Discerning, exactly. And it's a very important process,
Yeah.
extremely important. I would say that you take notes from time to time and you discuss these notes with your dad, with your mom, with friends, maybe with some of your school teachers, and they will give you something that's going to be useful. Whatever they say is going to reveal new information that is going to help you. For example, your dad has had two jobs for ages, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Your mom is also a professional, a very expert and smart person, smart lady. Your teachers at school, they have something to tell you too. Your uncles, you have your uncle Memo, and many. I mean, you are close to many smart people who can give you information, and with that information, you can more or less have an idea of the possibilities that you have, Mickey. But the nice thing, if you allow me to say this, is that you are like in a nice restaurant, right? Where they tell you the waiter tells you, what do you want? The set of pineapple, strawberry pie, mango dessert, etc. Then your choices are all positive, right? I mean, you're in a
Yeah.
situation now that you have conquered the situation in which the alternatives that you take are for the most part good or positive.
hmm Yeah, that is true. I have more advantages than other people, of course, But at the same time, I don't know. I've been looking to different jobs or things to do related to my degree, and I've noticed that the salaries are not the best,
Yeah, yeah,
and that makes me think so many things, and I'm in that process, that now I'm uh, in front of the reality.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. Well, one positive thing is that if you go to a company, what you are looking for really is to learn, right? To learn the processes, to learn how they develop their clientele, how they impulse their products, how they develop new services, how they make arrangements with the government. Arrangements in the positive sense, they have to comply with certain norms, certificates. In
Yeah.
other words, you can say, I'm going to sacrifice a bad income or a regular income for a good doses of learning how to make new deals, how to get new clients, how to develop new products and services to offer to the clients. For example, if you decide to work in a Dwayne's agency, you can also look up in, for example, in the border, right? Dwayne's agency, which is an agency that is in charge of exports and imports, right? You can see, you can establish alliances. Um, there are so many things now these days with this facility of information, Mickey, that
Yeah, that's
really, yeah,
yeah. In one part, if I work in a company, it's more for learn to the money that I can get there. And
yeah,
I've been thinking about, I don't know. Let's think about a good salary will be, I don't know, in the actuality 40,000, 5,000 would be a really good salary. I think so.
wait, how much? 40?
40,000 or
Yeah,
50,000.
or 50, yes. Yeah,
But
50, yeah.
I was thinking, and I go with the conclusion that maybe to reach that salary, I need to have years and years in the company. And I think that if I invest those years in something that I want to create, probably it's gonna take me the same time in doing something that I like. I don't know. I've been thinking so many things.
Right. Yeah, well, exactly. There are many ways for people to get to where they want to go. Yes. And also, it's important that you acknowledge what is it that you want to get. But you want to get, obviously, everyone wants to get a good salary, right? Good
Yeah.
income. But also, you want to get
Hmm.
good knowledge, experience, experience. And the same goes for Mitch, for you and Mitch. I know that people want to develop well, you already have your own business. Maybe you want to expand it, add new services. There may be many ways to grow. You may wish to establish an alliance, or you can continue on your own. There are so many things. What is important that every time that you do something, you learn something from it.
Yeah. Yeah. It is necessary to know how to take advantage of every every place or moment that we are living.
Absolutely. Yes. That is totally true. Well, I was about to start with this interesting text: educational opportunities, family, schools, and educational opportunities. Family, schooling, and cultural capital. Let's see if we can read this index of this book. The book is Handbook of Sociology of Education. What is the sociology of education, right? This is a great editorial, Springer. It's a German editorial, but they publish fantastic, fantastic books. So let's read the index, please. Can we? So we have here, this is the index. I don't know if Mitch is there.
I'm here, teacher. Sorry.
Yes, excellent. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you. Great. Do you wanna start reading the first part, Mitch? And
Sure.
then Mickey would read the second one, please.
Part 1. Families, school, and education opportunity. Family, schooling, and cultural capital, George Farkas.
Right. Then the second and the third, Mitch, please.
Power, relationships, and trust in sociological research and homes, school, and communities. Eric McNamara, Hobart, and Karen Pezzetti. Schools and inequality implications from seasonal comparison research. Douglas B. Downey, Amy June, and Elizabeth Martin.
Okay, thank you very much, Mitch. Appreciate it. Now, Mickey, let's read the second part, please. The changing demographics.
The changing demographics of social inequality. Race, class, and theories of inequality in sociology of education.
Okay.
Educational achievement and attainment differences among minorities and immigrants.
Okay.
Gender and racial ethnic differences in educational outcomes, examining patterns, explanations, and new directions for research.
Do you think, Mitch, and you, Mickey, Mitch, Mickey, do you think that educational outcomes are connected with gender and racial ethnic differences, or that has nothing to do? What do you think?
What was outcomes?
Results, educational results, educational outcomes.
Okay.
Do you think that the results in your education will depend on the gender and in racial or ethnic differences, or has nothing to do with that?
No, there's nothing to do because despite of everything, we are still humans. The things that we could differentiate men or women only it's about love biologically and emotionally, but not something else.
Okay, so in your concept, and I agree with you, boys and girls, men and women have basically the same potential for achievement in terms of education. Is that
Yes.
more or less? Okay, what do you think, Mickey? Thank you, Mitch. What do you think, Mickey?
I don't know. For example, yesterday I was talking with a friend, and he told me that he presented the exam to enter to the Prep Oficial.
Yes.
And he told me that he had a good grade in the exam, but he didn't pass. And I asked why, and he told me that his mom talked with the director, and it was around 4 years ago, and he told that normally they choose people who cannot continue with their studies if they don't pass exam. So I think that it was not equal because at the end he paid for a course that the Prep Oficial gives to the students that want to apply, and I know probably it's better for the people who doesn't have another option to continue with their studies, but for me it was not equality. There was not equality.
So let me see if I understand correctly. He took the course at Prep Oficial, but he didn't pass it.
And he had good grades in the exam, and it was a good grade in the exam. But the explanation of the director was that Normally, they choose people who doesn't have like any chance to study if they don't pass the exam. So it was like, oh, why are you offering the course to everyone if you're gonna choose only person who have those features or
Characteristics.
qualities? I don't know how to say it.
Characteristics.
Yeah,
Mm.
So they're trying to help the people with the least opportunities.
yeah,
That would be discrimination in reverse, don't you think?
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I don't think that is just as bad as the other one. What do you think,
Hmm.
Mitch?
No, truly, you're right. It is discrimination in reverse. Like Mickey said, why do you offer the course for everyone if you're
Yes,
going
yes.
to give more participation to the ones that are not don't have too many recurses? Okay, you have good intentions, but not let the other people waste their time.
And they're money
Exactly.
because the course have a cost.
It had a cost,
Yeah,
Mickey.
Yeah.
Jeez.
also that.
Yeah, that is unfair. That is truly unfair, and they shouldn't do that. If they if they advertise a course or a seminar, they should honor the what they promise. Because actually, if
Hmm.
they tell you, come to this course that's gonna cost you something, it's actually a promise. I'm gonna prepare
Mhm.
you to such a point that you will be able to pass.
Yeah.
So if they don't obey that, if they don't honor that, they are actually, excuse my French, but they are cheating.
Hmm.
Well, it's a pity. Let's see how things turn out to be in the US in terms of minorities and racial ethnic differences.
Oh
Let's see
no.
what they say. What's your forecast? Let's see. Let's see. Abstract. Who can read the abstract, please?
Me?
Okay, please.
Abstract. Gender and race ethnicity function as major aids of social stratification in the United States, and males and those from white backgrounds have historically occupied a position of advantage within the educational system, although they there has been progress towards decreasing inequality in recent decades, gender disparities, and to a much greater extent, racial ethnic disparities remain in educational outcomes. This chapter reviews the empirical patterns and discusses Eh, the major theoretical explanations behind these patterns focusing on K-16 education within the US. Additionally, some of the limitations of prior research are discussed in closing. The authors also outline three key areas where more empirical sociological research is needed and highlight recent research that provides con- compel compel
Compelling?
com- compelling examples of where the field of sociology of education should be headed in order to better understand and disrupt educational inequality.
Okay, so what it says is that best results are normally obtained at least from 0 to K16, which is end of prepa before university, K16, because then you go to college and you're 17, 18, and 19, I think, right? So what it means is that in the first 16 years of education, it tends to favor the white people in the US, white backgrounded people are tended to be favored. Do you think this is because of race or because they have access to better treatment or better advantageous situations? Why do you think this is, Mickey or Mitch? Why the results are normally better for the white people in the US?
Because unfortunately in the US and in so many countries that are racism and they have reference to white people. I don't think that there will be another another thing about that.
Yes, exactly, exactly. I totally agree. Let's see the introduction really quick, please. Can you please read it, Mickey?
Yes,
Introduction.
as gender and race ethnicity function as major axes of social stratification in the United States, males and those from white backgrounds have historically occupied a position of advantage within the educational system, with females and those from certain racial ethnic minority groups, Black and Hispanic youth in particular, occupying positions of less advantage. Consequently, educational outcomes are not distributed equally across groups, which sets the stage for the creation and maintenance of inequality in the labor force, in the home, and in society at large.
Do you believe, thank you, Mickey, do you believe that there is a huge or at least a tangible disparity in the assignment of jobs? When you go to a company in the US, do you think that if you are Hispanic or if you are Black or if you are a female, like in the case of Mitch, you're going to have equal opportunities or there will be less opportunities in the job market in the US? What do you think, Mitch or Mickey?
Depends of the enterprise. Some enterprises the high how can I say puestos
Have positions?
positions. So yes, they could have their judges, or they could be truly open mind to let their stereotypes aside and try to give the same test for everyone, because there are some people that they choose someone different to the others to make diversity, even if that person it's not qualified to the job, or other people think that just exists one kind of people that could be useful for them, and they just tend to choose people like that, and that's not how the humans work.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a very, very strong point. Very strong point. Well, there is a comment in the second paragraph, Mickey. You want to continue with the page, please? And then we ask Mitch to continue, please. In the first two parts of this chapter,
Yes. In the first two parts of each chapter, we review the rising patterns of gender, Part 1, and racial ethnic, Part 2, disparities in educational outcomes, and discuss the major theoretical explanations behind these patterns. We limit our focus to Case 16, education within the United States, as an examination of comparative patterns across different countries is beyond the scope and this chapter. Within the K-12 realm, we focus on three different educational outcomes that are observable to others and serve as tangible representation of cognitive achievement: grades, tests, scores, and course taking. Continue.
yes, please. Oops, I skipped a page. I'm sorry.
These outcomes also capture, to some extent, a student's mastery of the demands that school places on students, both academic and social behavioral.
Okay,
Additionally, okay,
okay. Let's just think about this. So they will give us grades, test scores, and course taking for different backgrounds, ethnic and gender. It's going to be interesting. Let's guess what you think is going to happen. So, in if we have a scale of 10, and we have the whites, we have the Hispanics, we have the Afro Americans, we have women because they divide this by gender too. How do you think, Mitch and Mickey, these people are going to score in a, let's say in a scale of 10, although you have basically in the US there is a scale of 4. 4 is equivalent to 10 in Mexico, right? But let's choose the scale of 10 and we'll make the conversion. How do you think the whites are going to score compared to Hispanics, Afro Americans, also Asians? What do you think is going to happen in this sense, Mitch and Mickey?
Mm,
Average score.
mm,
Mm, but they are going to do what?
Score. What's this? They're gonna give us, the book is gonna give us the results of whites, Hispanics, Afro Americans, women, and Asians. Asians.
Mm,
So, what do you think the
but they're
score
going to do what? Compete in what?
in grades in school?
Ah,
What are the grades
well,
going to be?
depending of their preparation, the kind of teachers that they get, uh, if they pay attention to their classes or things like normal people tend to say.
Yeah, yeah, but at the end they have to have a global score. They say our global score is right as they have for the Mexican students when they participate in the PISA tests, PISA
Mhm.
tests, right? So in this case, they're going to have a similar result. They're going to say the white students in the U.S. score what? 9.9, 9.5, 9, 8, 8.5. What do you think is the average score for white
Mm,
people in the US?
we
mm,
can say that like that because we know that the PISA test, Mexico, it's many times the last position, with other countries. And for example, in the school that are white people, are also black people. They could, if they get the best, not the same, how can I say, the same preparation with the same teacher, and they pay the same attention, and this, they probably, as a probability, they're going to get the a pretty similar notes.
In theory, but in reality, well, I'm making probably going too fast. I'd like to know what let's see if they provide statistics, but I think they do. Before they show us, yeah, they are giving some results of how people perform by gender and by race, ethnic race. But now what we're doing is we're guessing. We are guessing what they're going to give us. So the question really is, what is your guess? Do you think the whites performed better than the Hispanics, Afro Americans, and women in the U.S. Or worse or the same? What do you think, Mitch and Mickey?
The same,
You think they're the same? Okay, so Mitch thinks that it's
almost the same because nothing. It's always it's totally equal,
okay.
similar. Uh-huh.
You think it's the same, almost the same. How about, thank you, Mitch. How about you, Mickey? Do you think they perform the same or was it different?
mm. I don't know. I think that Asians will have a higher uh, score.
You think?
Oh yes.
Asians normally surprised.
What score do you think they would get in tests in the US for tests, grades, and so on?
Four is the maximum, right?
Well, yeah, but let's choose 10 and then we make
Okay,
the equivalence. 10 is the top,
probably 880 on to 9.
8 to 9. All right. How about women? Taken as a
Mm,
single category,
probably the same.
8 to 9. How about Afro Americans?
Mm, 8 to 8.5.
8 to 8.5. Hispanics?
Probably 7.5 to 5 to 8.
8. All right. And the whites, the white people?
The same.
That is what?
10.5 to 8.
Okay. So you would think that women and Asians score better. Well, let's
Yeah.
see what the book says. Interesting. Let's see. Grades. The are both a measure of students' academic skills and part of the educational process. All right, this is interesting. The grades. Uh, look at this, Mitch. Let's see what's the reason for this. Let's examine the patterns and explanations for gender differences. In the US, boys have scored better than girls, but not because they are smarter, but there is a reason for that. You want to read this, Mitch, please?
Me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Examined parents and explanation for gender differences in educational outcomes. Although historically males in the US have outpaced their female peers across a range of outcomes, an overall pattern of male advantage no longer applies. Instead, females not hold an advantage on many indicators, though males maintain an advantage in others. The fact that gender patterns vary across different outcomes has led to some confusion and seemingly contradictory accounts in the popular press and public. Uh, will you scroll down, teacher?
Yes. Oops.
Uh, a public discourse
Discord.
specifically discourse
Specifically, what some proclaim.
specifically when some proclaim the grades teacher give to students are both a measure of students' academic success and part of educational process. Grades signal students' mastery of course content and in doing so provide positive or negative feedback that may guide students' future behaviors. Kelly 2008. For decades, gender differences in students' grades have favored girls. Buchman 8 at 2008 and Weisel et al. 1984. Michelson. Well, that in a meta-analysis of female advantages in school grades from kindergarten through high school, Boyer and Boyer. Boyer is a word or a name?
Voyer is a name. He
Okay.
finds that girls' grades.
Find girls' grades are consistently higher than boys across all academic subjects, with the largest gaps in languages courses.
And the smallest gaps in math courses. In other words, that girls tend to outpace boys in many topics, including languages in primary and kindergarten. Right? There's the least differences in math courses. Apparently, boys tend to score better in math, and girls tend to score better in languages in the US normally. Um, Thank
In
you very
what?
much. Well, it says here, uh, girls' grades are consistently higher than boys across all academic subjects, with the largest gap in language courses. If there
Oh,
is a difference, the widest difference is in language courses, and the smallest gap is in math courses. So there's
oh.
very little differences in math and a wide difference in language. Why should that be? You will see in many language centers there are more women than boys. Why
Mm,
should that be a reason?
I have the theory that math it's something like something established that it has to be like this, and men thinking it's like more direct with not so many details, and
Yes.
female are too many details, communication and social stuff. But it's that this is something in biologically, I think.
Yeah.
But
Well, you're saying that math and languages is something biological. That sounds interesting. Why do you say that, Mitch?
uh, well, I can give a great example, but I saw phases of the story that Sorry, teacher, I don't have battery,
Okay, no
and
worry.
I can find my charger. But yes, things like maybe the communication it has to more emotional details.
And that's why women tend to speak languages in general better than boys. Is that your reasoning? Is that your logic?
Sorry, teacher, I lost you. I'm going to disconnect with. No.
Okay, that's all right. That's okay. Don't worry. Charge back your battery. What do you think of this argument, Mickey? Is the study of languages more social than math or practice
Hmm,
of languages?
I don't know. I think that men in general are more. Uh, how can I say like cuadrado? There's an expression.
Squared,
Yeah, squared.
squared.
Yeah,
Yeah, men are more squared.
men are more squared, and I think that that's a reason why they're better in math and in science that involves numbers. And I think that women in general are more social, are more analytical in things that um, I think that are easier for them, for girls, and I think that that's a reason.
Yeah, I think you're right. Although here they find some evidence. Can read it here, please.
Mhm.
Furthermore,
Furthermore, they find no evidence for an increasing female advantage over time, discrediting arguments that boys today are in a new school achievement crisis. Although teachers do reward students' non-cognitive characteristics, such as effort and engagement, with higher grades. Recent empirical evidence finds that only substantive engagement leads to higher grades, as opposed to less academically relevant forms of positive classroom behavior.
well, that's interesting. Recent empirical evidence finds that only substantive engagement leads to higher grades, and not the theory that they had that less academically relevant forms of positive classroom behavior. Well, that's something interesting.
Yeah.
Um, how do you think men learn in comparison with women? Do we learn the same? Do we learn differently? Do we learn faster? Do we learn more slowly? What does it depend on? It depends on age, it depends on maturity, on social status. What does it depend on?
Probably the maturity. Sometimes I think that women have women has more maturity than men in some topics, and I think that probably for them are more interesting than than for men.
So you think that women tend to learn some topics more quickly because they are more mature at an earlier stage than men?
In Yeah, in part yes. In some topics, not in all of them.
Okay, let me make a graph then, Mickey. I pretty much agree with what you say, and it's empirical evidence supports this. They normally say that at the end of the years, both men and women reach the same, but let's make a curve of maturity. Let's say that this is 24 years, and we already discussed this just to see who matures faster and who takes more time to mature. I think if this is a man and these are women, women tend to mature much faster. Do you agree with this?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say that women are pretty mature at the age of what? 16, 17? What do you think, Mickey?
More or less. Yeah, I think that in how do you say this?
Their teens,
Yeah, in their teens. Uh huh.
which is 16 to 18, maybe, right?
Yeah.
They're more or less mature. Obviously, with the help of mom, grandma, the classmates, the teachers, and the lots of friends, female friends, who talk about personality topics over and over and over for ages, for hours, which is thing, of course. I'm not saying that that is bad. And when do men achieve more or less same maturity as women? When women and men are what? 20, 21, 22?
Sorry,
Bless
teacher.
you.
Thank you.
Or 18 to 20, 18 to 21.
I would say I don't know because, for example, in my class, I have some classmates that are so immature, and it's like, oh my god, you have now 22 years old, and you looks like a guy of 16 years old. But yeah, I think that around 2021 to 20 to 24, 25.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, more or less. I pretty much agree with this. There's a 6 year gap for maturity. Girls mature when they're 16 to 18, they're pretty much mature. And boys tend to mature much more slowly. And it's just a part of nature. It's not that it's good or bad, it's part of nature,
Mhm.
um, both physically and psychologically. So there is this degree, let's say, maturity process, right? So what you relate is that the social, you relate maturity with learning capacity. Do you like this word, Mickey? Or how
Yeah.
would you, or can we find a better word?
With yeah, I think that it is correct.
Let's establish this theory. It's a hypothesis. Maturity correlates with learning capacity. So, in the first years of education, which is pretty much prime elementary, secondary, or junior high, pre college, university, women take the lead. And then in college, they even up, they become more or less even. What do you think of this argument, Mickey? Is this true? It has a degree of certainty, or maybe sometimes it's true, not always.
I think that yeah, that is something that, as you said, biological, and I think that is part of the nature, of the human nature, that man uh, lets more to mature.
Right. Yeah. It would be interesting to find out the grades and the performance in the Secretary of Education in Mexico as well, and
Yeah.
see if this correlates, if the degrees that women get, and if this is for all the topics or all the subjects. What do you think? Do you believe that this will apply to men in every subject, or is only in some subjects and not in all of them? What do you think, Mickey?
I would say in all
In
in
all?
all subjects. Yeah,
Could well be, right? Yes,
probably,
could
but
be.
I'm not sure.
Well, could be. I think you're gonna be right. But well, okay, we can do some research, some investigation, and find out if really women outpace boys in every class. Maybe not in math. In which classes do women outpace boys? In which classes?
Um, in classes that involve numbers, I would say physics, math. I don't know, probably chemistry. I would think that women are better than men in
In
some
chemistry.
cases. Yeah.
Okay, chemistry, women.
Hmm.
Math, who's
Men,
better? Men. And languages in general,
women.
women, right?
Mhm.
Let's say physical education,
Men.
man. Let's see, social sciences.
Probably women.
Probably women, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. It would be interesting to check this information out and see if it corresponds with the statistics. I would say that it more or less fits.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's see how many women and how many women and how many men are studying social sciences or math or chemistry, at least here in Mexico.
yeah. And I guess we can find this information both at INEGI or at the
Mhm.
Secretary of Education.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay, Mickey. Well, let's